Hello and welcome to Breakfast for Pancakes. I'm your host, PK Sullivan. Would you look at that spread? Gorgeous. It's a pulled lamb gyro bar I made for Christmas dinner. Yes, that's my actual Christmas dinner. Happy holidays to everyone out there in the world. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You probably want to know how I got here. Well, it all started a few days before Christmas. I really wanted to use this enormous roasting pan I got for free a few months ago. Lamb is a traditional holiday meal for many cultures, and I thought it would make a nice Christmas dinner. 2 whole legs will fit in that enormous pan, so I figured, why not go big? Thus was born my idea of a pulled lamb gyro bar. I could make the bulk of it well ahead of time and reheat it to serve. The first step was to trim the legs. There's a lot of fat on them, and while fat is flavor, I didn't want that much for the dish. Slice away the fat cap to expose the meat. This is a lot like trimming a brisket. Save the trimmings. You can render them down and use them for fat in other recipes. I like to use rendered lamb fat when I make shepherd's pie. With the legs trimmed up, I threw together a quick wet rub of garlic, fresh oregano, mint, salt, and olive oil. No measurements, just doing this by eye. Use a lot of herbs and garlic for this much meat. The veggies get pulsed in the food processor until they're nice and broken up. In a bowl, I add a healthy dose of salt and mix in the olive oil until the rub flows and sticks to itself when mixed. That gets smeared over the lamb and everything gets put in the oven for an hour at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. After an hour, my whole house smelled like roasted garlic, so I was having a pretty good day. In order to keep that from turning into burnt garlic, we switched from roasting to braising. I added 6 quarts of salt-free chicken stock and covered the pan with aluminum foil. The most challenging part of this cook is maneuvering that giant pan while it's hot. It's got handles, but the handles are hot, and getting my hands under them with hot pads without burning myself was quite a trick. Oh, and it's real heavy with 24 pounds of lamb and 1.5 gallons of stock. Be careful, work slowly. Delicious food awaits. The legs go back to roast for another 4 hours. Since we've got all that chicken stock mingling with the lamb, garlic, and herbs, it would be a real shame not to use that to infuse something else with flavor. Into the pan goes 3 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes. Don't use russets here, they'll turn into mush and fall apart. Yukon Gold are about the starchiest potato I would use. Waxy varieties like new potatoes would also work. Cover the pan again and stick it back in the oven for another hour. At this point, the potatoes will be fully cooked and it's time to test the lamb. It should be probe tender, meaning that a thermometer or metal skewer slides in with little or no resistance. Pulling a bone out of the meat and having it come away clean is a sign of properly cooked pulled meat. These legs are right there, so it's time to get them out of the braising liquid and onto a tray to rest. This is a little difficult because everything is falling off the bone tender, but I got it done. With the lamb out of the liquid, remove the potatoes and set them aside to cool. Lastly, pour out the liquid and skim the fat as best you can. The liquid is crucial for the rest of the recipe. After the lamb has rested for 30 to 60 minutes, go ahead and pull it. Use your hands, in barbecue gloves, of course. You don't need to shred it fine or anything, just separate the chunks into manageable pieces. I piled mine up in a 9x13 casserole dish before vacuum sealing it in a few bags. Alright, so that's all the prep I could do ahead of time. Oh, remember the liquid from the pan? It should be lamb jello the next morning, and this is the key to making the final gyros tender and succulent. Come Christmas Day, I brought my sous vide setup with me and used that to reheat the lamb to 140 degrees. The lamb jello I put in a pan and liquefied it over medium heat. I took the pulled lamb and cooked it in a hot skillet. This is what I like to call the carnitas method. It may have a real name, but I learned its value when making carnitas. What you do is you take pulled meat, pork, lamb, or whatever, and you cook it in a skillet, either dry or with just a little bit of fat. As the meat cooks, it will start to brown and dry out. It gets crispy. This develops a ton of flavor on a pretty large surface area since the meat has been pulled and is likely shredding as it sticks to the pan. Thing is, no one wants to eat dry meat, right? That's what the liquefied lamb jello is for. Add a scoop or two to the pan and mix things around. This will do a few things. First, it will deglaze the pan and release all the meat that's stuck. Second, it will add even more flavor to the dish, not just from itself, but also from all the fond that it releases as it deglazes. Lastly, the gelatin will coat the meat, making it feel softer, moister, and more succulent than ever. This is the key to incredible carnitas and is my whole game plan for the pulled lamb gyros. The dinner spread was pretty simple but delicious. Classic gyro spread: pita, cucumber, tomato, lettuce, and tzatziki with the pulled lamb. I had leftover chilao from a few days earlier. The potatoes that got cooked with the lamb were tossed with oil, roasted at high heat to develop browning and flavor, and then braised with some more of that lamb jello. Those were delicious. And there you have it. That was my Christmas dinner. Happy holidays, peace and love to everyone in the new year. I'll see you next time.